Greetings, gods and goddesses in training. Welcome back to the channel. It is Uncle Makara, all relations. Today we're talking all about having an untamed genius frequency. And the term we use nowadays is called neurodivergent, okay? Now, when I first heard this term, I was very thrown off by it because I started to understand that this was just like another label to put onto a label, right? This video today is going to be for the wild minds, the time travelers that didn't pick the body that they came into, the overfeelers, okay? The ones whose brain works different than the norm. That's what neuroatypical and neurodivergent brains are. Is just, in my perspective, again, read the disclaimer, this is my perspective, is that it is an untamed or untrained genius frequency that becomes so scattered because it does not fit into the cultural society and cultural norms that it has to create a world of its own, right, to thrive. And soon that inner world starts to bleed into the outer world, and we start to notice these people changing the timeline, actually, right? Now, of course, there are people with genuine mental illnesses out there, and I truly believe that if you stay around lower valence emotions and you get stuck in these just negativity all the time, you're going to get caught up in this cycle or this loop. They might call you too sensitive, too loud, too intense, too out there, but you're not too much. You know that. You know you were born for more layers, more realities, more perception than their textbooks could ever measure. So maybe you weren't meant to sit still. Maybe you were just meant to shake the tectonic plates with your presence. Maybe you weren't meant to memorize the past and you were here to channel the fucking future. Of course, school terrified you because it was a neural zoo. It wasn't a classroom. They tried to clip your wings so that you could walk single file. But dragons don't take tests or exams. They burn them and write in smoke. Now, I'm not saying go and blow off your exams, but I'm saying that that's not the way that your brain is hardwired. This is not a diagnosis or a wound or a limit. This is a fingerprint of the divine in rebellion. And you know this deep within your bones. You're here in Primal Sutra listening to this transmission. So there must be some truth to what I'm saying. You can call it ADHD, autism, CPTSD, bipolar, schizotypal. You can give it all these labels. What if these individuals were God's glitch artists? What if the soul codes were sent here in these specific individuals for a different motherboard entirely? What if these people became a shapeshifter of systems, a symphony in flesh? Today I look kind of like Salieri or Mozart, or like someone from a novel from years ago, right? I look kind of like my ancestors in a sense. The disorder is only a disorder if you're forced to live in somebody else's dungeon of expectations. But in your own realm, think about it, in your own dimension, you are a god. You're a genius. And the world keeps saying, oh, you have lots of potential, you have lots of potential. And they'll keep telling you that, right? Compared to what? Compared to who? You see what I'm saying? They try to compare you to others when you're irreplaceable and uncomparable. Here's what we do. We stop apologizing for this. We stop hiding about it. We stop letting normal become the idol that we worship. And we create neuro dojos. We sculpt disciplines that dance with our rhythms. We build altars of structure, not cages of control. We alchemize our chaos into cathedrals of expression. And we find each other, the misfits, the mystics, the makers, the temple runners, the ones that got kicked out of heaven and still remembered their way back. We form soul crews, flow tribes, genius syndicates of light and lunacy, bringing through that crazy wisdom from the other side. So you may call it neurodivergence. We just call it God mode under construction. So in the right ecosystem, you're either seen as someone who's absolutely crazy or someone who's a visionary, a genius. But really what you're doing is you're tapping into your multidimensionality. There's something called multidimensional awareness that not a lot of people have this skill set, but once you train it, once you're able to identify that you have a very deep intuition that you can actually rely on and trust on, but society's taught you the opposite. It's taught you that it's just bogus, that stop following your heart, that, give up on your dreams. And these are all programming, guys. These are all indoctrination. When I was growing up, the schools would just stomp on my creativity. I remember, man, I used to create so much art, so much music, so much beautiful comic books, okay? Rich with life. And the teachers would just see that, what is this silly, childish thing that you're doing? Okay, they wouldn't understand it. But secretly, I think they needed it. They needed to see it. They needed to visualize something outside of the norm. They needed that pattern interrupt in their life, because otherwise, why did it show up for them? And why was I there? Why was I shown this all? The experiences in your life right now, maybe you're like, this doesn't make sense right now. And that's absolutely valid, because in some years from now, you're going to realize everything that I've done in the past is going to start to click. And once it clicks into the right place, you're going to be unstoppable, irreplaceable. Your divergence will create a continuum in the mind. So let me teach you a little bit how energy work helps different neurodivergent brains. Neurodivergent people often experience sensory overwhelm, hypervigilance, mental looping, these types of things. So energy practices such as breath work, grounding. So these practices, they discharge the excess static in the mind, right? And they calm the nervous system without numbing it. Like, for instance, if you have ADHD, which I have a mild, probably, case of it. I've never been diagnosed, but I understand it. For ADHD, breath holds are very, very key and important, just to reset the energy, as well as tapping. I found that tapping is incredible for people with ADHD, because it takes that excess energy that's really trapped in the body and flushes it out. This makes the mind go from very scattered to feeling very centered. So make sure that you're regularly tapping your body, okay? For autism, I'd highly recommend like rhythmic humming, and also root-based visualizations where you're really immersing and connecting deeply into the earth. I think cord cutting is incredible and helps empaths a lot. And also OCD minds to detach from looping caused by outside influence. Neurodivergent minds are multidimensional, like I said. You're like tuning into 4 thoughts at once. But energy work will anchor your presence. Something like bipolar, for instance, if you notice, it's lopsided to one side, the energy, oftentimes. And once you start doing brain gym and you start doing different things like qigong, so the energy flow starts to flow through the entire system, you start feeling so much better. Chakra alignment through sound can be very powerful for this too. So working with your solar plexus chakra energy for your willpower, your determination, your decision making, and so forth. Any ND people, they feel invaded by other people's energy, their routines, different environments. So energy hygiene tools like shielding up, okay? Visualizing a force field around you. Like with auric shielding, for instance, like ADHD people, they pick up unconsciously the tension of everybody in the room. So when you are shielding your aura and you're listening to things for aura cleansing, for instance, like the one by Quadable, great one, you will notice you're only carrying what is yours now. Autistic folks also can tap and tune into the subtle realms a lot easier, but they have to learn to distinguish signal from noise. I think a lot of people haven't been well trained, or they haven't learned how to harness these superpowers, and so they feel like they're mutants, outcasts, right? Kind of like how X-Men shows that these are mutants, right? These are mutated individuals. They're not normal. Remember, you're not cursed, yo. You're a storm or a skywalker. You're unrefined stardust, my friend. How dare somebody else call you disordered? You know, someone was telling me, and I'm not going to reveal names, of course, for confidentiality purposes, but someone told, who was a big psychiatrist, told someone, just, there's no point in your life anymore, you should just give up. That's what they told them, guys. Imagine if someone from authority tells you that. Yeah, but you were never good enough anyway, so, and teachers do this to little kids all the time. But what they're really doing is clipping their wings, right? They're telling them that this is wrong. What if you could learn to work with your energy instead of fight against it? Ground your signal, shield your aura, learn this stuff. Learn the stuff on this channel. Train your nervous system like a sacred beast. No more excuses. Don't mute your signal. Make it audible to the divine. So if you are a god or a goddess in training, if you are somebody who is a little bit offbeat, off kilter, following your own path, you march to the beat of your own drum, shaking and hissing for 1 minute. Inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 6, and then do this with a couple of holds in between. So 7 rounds of this will really calm you down. Then tap your solar plexus 30 times. I choose what enters my mind. I choose what enters my mind. Okay? And then all you're doing is you're just picturing this liquid mirror sealing you. Okay? And you're sending back anything that doesn't align. And just imagine this liquid around you like a ball, like a aura, right? Many people looking at me today, they're like trying to aura farm from me. Like, who is that guy, trying to get around me today. Funny. I like to do low vagal tone humming. It reconditions me, as well as just tapping on the third eye, swiping up like this from the emotion code. And then at night, just listening to a theta wave and just getting myself into that trance-like state, and then priming myself with hidden subliminals, affirmations, different mantras that start to change my morphic resonance in my own field, right? So now I'm primed. Do this for just 7 days, and I'm telling you, you will notice a difference. Because once you really start doubling down on this kind of energy work, and you're like, yeah, you know what? I'm gonna actually implement this as a natural part of my life. Like, I'm gonna make it so easy for me to do this. Like, convert my shower into a shower meditation, right? Or convert my just going to the bathroom and taking a shit into like a ritual, right? Where I'm letting go of some old thing that's been trapped in my stomach, right? So like even these mundane things, you can use your neurodivergence or your untamed, unclaimed genius and redeem it. Okay, let's get it upward spiral, gang. May we never be the same again. Thank you so much for tapping in. I hope you have an incredible rest of your day. Share this with the flow me. We got this. You got this. We're all gonna make it. I'll see you on the other side. May the flow be with you.